Well, it's obvious that I would have to react to this as soon as possible, and, well, thus, now I am. And yep, of course, back once again reacting to more Nostalgia Critic content, and that's right, I am reacting to the Nostalgia Critic's review of The Princess Bride. Yes, The Princess Bride. What do I even have to say about The Princess Bride? I mean, it's such a memorable, like, late 80s classic film, and probably one of the top best fantasy films. There's just something about The Princess Bride that has such a fantastic charm. And also, because, I mean, me and one of my friends, Elijah Goring, we did our review of The Princess Bride, if you want to go check that out. Yeah, and obviously, Doug, as the Nostalgia Critic, is going to have some really good positive things to say, on The Princess Bride. But still, there's probably going to be a few things, I mean, yeah. You know, by the way, because I really enjoyed this, like, during the pandemic, because I'm sure you guys probably know this, there was, like, a special, like, Princess Bride like, film, or whatever it was specifically, like, called, you know, where it just had random actors slash actresses, like, playing the parts. Like, you know, you had, you had Carrie Elwes in there at one point. You had J.K. Simmons, you had Joey King, Fred Savage was also in it too, Jason Segel, and, Nick Kroll, Penelope Cruz and her husband, and Sam Rockwell. If you know what I'm talking about, like, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. I even like looking at some of the comments on that, because there are a couple of uploads of it, but one of my favorites has to be the one where, you know, it's kind of like a book, and like showing stilled shots from the actual movie, you know, with whoever it is that's playing that character. So, also others to mention, like Neil Patrick Harris and his husband, and also Brendan Routh and what's Courtney Ford? Am I saying her full name? Well, no. Like, Brendan Routh's wife, obviously. Ugh, it's gonna drive me nuts. It should be so easy. You have one of those moments where you think you could remember an easy name, just, you know, but sometimes you can't. Who else? Like, Andy Serkis and Elijah Wood were also in it, and Seth Rogen and a few others. I think the guy from the Allstate commercials, are You in Good Hands, he was in it too. I think, Keegan-Michael Kay was also in it too, and Patton Oswalt, that's an obvious one. And it's obvious, like, who Patton Oswalt would play. Obviously, Wallace Shawn's character, that's fitting. So I'm sure you know about this, and probably some of you got a good kick out of it, so... Anyways, so I'm looking forward to what the Nostalgia Critic, Doug Walker, has to say on The Princess Bride, and, so without further ado, we shall begin the video in 3, 2, 1, play. Short intro, very short intro.
Oh, hey, Malcolm, what you looking up? Malcolm, what happened to you?
Oh, I was just doing research on today's movie. It's The Princess Bride, right?
Oh, yeah. No, I remember growing up with that flick. It's a classic.
Yeah, me too. That's why I was looking it up. Did you know that film is 37 years old?
Really? I didn't know that. What are you guys talking about?
Princess Bride.
Oh, yeah, I love that movie. Did you know it's 37 years old?
Really? No, I wasn't aware of that. So crazy.
Good thing they don't look like that.
The Princess Bride is 37 years old.
No kidding. How time flies.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Why is Jim dead?
Just nuts. Life's not fair.
It sure isn't. You can say that again.
I'm dead.
No, you're not. You're too young.
Crazy to think we're close to 4 decades
Yeah, that was
since
funny.
the release of the fairy tale comedy, The Princess Bride. Well, the Rob Reiner film wasn't a big hit at the box office, it found a very profitable life on home video, and soon every kid in the 80s was hooked. Based on the book by William Goldman and launching the careers of actors like Carrie Elwes and Robin Wright, the film had a low-budget charm, surprisingly sophisticated comedy, and a legitimately romantic story, even winning over kids who hate all that kissy stuff. Where a lot of
Honestly, it's a
children
fantasy
express
film, so
desperate
what does it matter on the
sell you
budget?
something or pander to whatever your kids find popular. This film played by its own rules and eventually won audiences over just by doing its own thing. It's still delightful all these years later, and we're gonna take a look at why. Even if it feels a little weird all these years later.
Hey, you guys, did you know Karate Kid is 40 years old?
This is Princess Fred.
And that's pretty good.
Opens
Nice
with
on
a
the
sick little
skit.
boy, played by Fred Savage, who hates he's missing such a beautiful curtain outside, but his grandfather,
Yeah.
played by Peter Falk, tries to read him a story to cheer
It's
him
winter time, so
Try and stay awake.
I'll try to keep this white hair
Christmas,
free
I
off my
think.
head.
Is this a kissing book?
Wait, just wait.
Falk's charm as the narrator is so likable, I keep thinking he's gonna Columbo him and lure him into revealing something. You killed that Girl Scout down the street, then you sold the cookies and pocketed the profits. Okay, I buried her under the doghouse, that's why Milo's so sick. Oh, I was just reading the first chapter. But that's good to know. We're transported to the world of the story where we see a farm boy named Wesley, played by Carrie Elwes, and a farm girl named Buttercup, played by Robin Wright.
Buttercup was raised on a small farm. Isn't that a wonderful
Peter Falk
It's really
would have been
good.
funny if
You really put the ass in passive aggressive.
it would have been funny if Peter Falk said his famous quote, if you know what it is.
And then later you can polish me.
She was amazed to discover that when he was saying as you wish, what he meant was,
I'm gonna wear you down till I'm out of the friend zone. Eventually they confess their love for each other, but because he has no money, he journeys across the sea to seek his fortune.
What if something happens to you?
I will always come for you.
I started taking pills. His ship was attacked by pirates, though, and he's presumed dead. Maybe I'll marry that prince who
Presumably,
proposed to
like-
me.
Possibly, supposedly.
I believe it'll be our most horrible yet. That is Jack
Nice,
Skellington
nice.
for Sarandon as Prince Humperdinck, who was chosen to marry.
Also,
a cop.
Fright Night.
Would you like to meet her? Buttercup!
Now, this was a couple years after he did Fright Night, Princess Bride.
Well, that was anticlimactic. Perhaps you could hooray or something. How about some name combos for
I
the
didn't think of
tabloids? Butterdink is testing well. Perhaps Humpercup. Buttercup doesn't love Humperdinck, but that's hardly an issue when she's
Humpercup.
abducted by three thieves. Inigo, played by Mandy Patinkin. Fezzik, played by Andre the Giant. And Vizzini, played by Wallace Shawn.
Fabric will make the prince suspect that the Guildarians have abducted his love.
While all these actors are perfectly chosen, I will admit I was a little curious how one of their other choices, Danny DeVito, would have been in the Vizzini role. Sean is great, don't get me wrong, but man, I love to see DeVito say something like,
You will be caught.
I'll give you the same advice I give my mom when she cries. Shut up.
Yeah, it would have been different if
I dropped
if-
my monster
he was cast.
condom that I used for my Magnum Dom.
But that said, Sean does add a unique over-the-top take that is clearly his own. And let's be honest, he does help create the most quotable line.
Inconceivable.
Yes.
Inconceivable. Inconceivable. Inconceivable.
True, there's also this line.
My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare
Prepare to die.
But that's 20 syllables, and this one's only 5. It's a bit easier to say.
You never say anything.
Rest in peace, Andre.
I've always been a big Andre the Giant fan too, so it's great to see him in one of his few film roles. It's another one of those where it's hard to say it's entirely convincing, but like many charming actors, you sense a joy of performance from him. And in a film where the realism is not a number one priority, that joy also spreads to the audience.
No more rhymes now, I mean it.
Anybody want a peanut?
Ah!
Thank you. We'll never use it again.
So,
They move quickly across the sea, though not that quickly. Where Buttercup tries to escape,
Well-
but is hunted by the shrieking eels.
She doesn't get eaten by the eels at this time.
What?
The eel doesn't get her.
No, we heard you. We were just wondering what's up with that weird Shyamalan writing. Most of the dialogue is stellar
Okay.
in this, but now's a weird moment. Is the idea that she'll be eaten by the eels later in the story? Maybe in the version with Deadpool. She makes her way back to the ship, but they notice they're being followed.
Hurry up! Move the thing!
Another thing!
And stop washing the flag with too much starch!
Climbing the rope.
Yeah, it's not even.
The person following
You
them
know.
is the Dread Pirate Roberts, who's gaining on their tail.
Faster!
I thought I was going faster.
I do not accept excuses. I'm just going to have to find myself a new giant.
Wait
Don't
till I
say
write my
that,
next play on this. My
please.
climb with Andre. They try cutting the rope. He still holds on as Inigo is left behind to kill
Nah.
him. But he's too impatient, so he offers him a rope to speed things up.
Well, to give you my word, there's a Spaniard.
No good. I've known too many Spaniards.
That's all right. I'm not a Spaniard anyway.
I swear on the soul of my father, Domingo Montoya, you will reach the top alive.
Like I said, I've known too many Spaniards.
And commercial break.
Well, wait until you're ready.
He makes it to the top and allows him to rest before they fight. Inigo shares that a six-fingered man killed his father, and he searches to get revenge, which in any other movie would feel like an exposition dump, but like I said, the acting and writing is really solid.
I love my father.
Yeah, absolutely.
Naturally, I challenged his murderer to a duel, but he gave me.
And how much his father meant to
Oh, it
him.
needs to flow more natural, like...
He was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders right before she died.
I didn't do well at the box office either. These two are practically the same. They began their sword fight on the carpeted stage.
Yeah, but at least Princess Bride
You
didn't,
should be.
you know.
These two actors began practicing at the beginning of production to the very end of production. Every single day while the other actors went home or out for drinks. They shot this fight last because they wanted to be as good as possible. They were sore beyond belief, but they learned how to fence both left and right-handed beautifully. There was just one problem. When they did the demonstration of the fight on set the day they were going to shoot, Rob Reiner shrugged and said, "That's it?" While the fencing was perfect, it was barely over a minute long. So on the spot, they had to find other ways to drag out the fight, with jumps, flips, some bouncy rocks.
Oh, are you?
Bouncy,
Used to disappointment.
bouncy rocks.
Everyone
I didn't
was so
notice.
politely harsh in this. He defeats Inigo and makes his way to Pheasant.
We face each other as God intended. No tricks, no weapons, kill against, kill alone.
Giving me literally a gigantic advantage.
I haven't fought just one person for so long.
What was that line he had earlier?
People in masks cannot be trusted.
Then what am I supposed to make of this? Actually, Andre was in back pain so much he couldn't perform sometimes. So they had a stuntman in a mask
Yeah.
take over. I can't imagine how much fun it was to find a stunt double for him. In fact, Andre was often in so much pain he would literally drink bars out of their entire supply of alcohol. One night I always went drinking with him in the hotel bar, and he passed out in the hotel lobby. And nobody was able to move him. They literally just put velvet ropes around him, and everyone thought he was some sort of abstract art exhibit, saying, "Wow, that looks so realistic." In the morning, he got up and walked away like nothing happened. After that, a cop was assigned to him whenever he went drinking to make sure he didn't pass out. Andre was so nice, he always bought the cop a drink. Sorry, like I said, big Andre fan. Anyway, Roberts knocks him out by slowly strangling him
Rest well.
Dream of large women.
with more consistently funny rap. He makes his way to Vicini, who says the only way to win over Buttercup is to beat him in a duel of wits to the death.
Inhale this. I smell nothing. What you do not smell is called iocane powder.
It is a poison that kills you simply through smell. I win.
Where is the poison?
Nah,
All
because
I have to do is divine from what I know of you. Are you the sort of man who
Boy, this must have been the easiest shooting day for Wright. You can practically hear her snoring in between takes.
that's not what happened.
but only a great fool?
But funny.
You're just stalling now.
You'd like to think that, wouldn't you?
He puts the poison in one of the cups and lets Vizzini choose who should drink which. That's not so hard to survive. At C2E2, I made it out okay.
Yeah,
What in the
I remember
world can
seeing
that be?
that. I think on
Vizzini switches
Facebook
them, though,
and
thinking
also
he outsmarted
in the community post
Wrong.
You fell
on the
victim to
Channel
one of the
Awesome
classic
YouTube channel.
blunders. The most famous is never get involved in a land war in Asia.
The second is don't buy a Star Wars IP and expect fans to like it. It looks like he put the poison in both cups, though.
I spent the last few years building up an immunity to iocane powder.
Cool. Doesn't explain how Prince Humperdinck can tell what it is.
Okay.
How does he know? It's odorless.
Well,
Humperdinck is hot.
He just
on the trail,
knows.
and Buttercup can't figure out who the mysterious pirate is.
Whatever you ask for ransom, you'll get it. I promise you.
What a story, Mark. Gotta love a hero who has to stop himself from smacking his love.
I have loved
Yeah.
more deeply than a killer like yourself could ever dream.
That was a warning, Highness.
It's cool. I got an apology video all set to go. Always actually broke his foot riding one of the ATVs on set, so in several scenes where you see him leaning, sitting, or laying back, he was actually trying to take pressure off it. As you can tell by his kinda awkward way he sits down here. Funny enough, it makes him look more cocky and confident, as he throws cruel lines to Buttercup, bitter she rushed into marriage after his death.
Life is pain, Highness. Anyone who says differently is selling something.
Happy reminder, this scene is available in toy form. Life is painless. He, of course, reveals himself as he's pushed down a hill, and Buttercup literally throws herself at him with
As
joy.
you
Why didn't you wait
wish.
for me?
You were dead.
Death cannot stop true love.
That's the dumbest thing I ever heard.
The grandson hates hearing parts about kissing, though.
Do we have to hear the kissing part?
Let's see, she took the cucumber out of her. Here we go, the fire swamp.
It's not that bad.
Sorry, the mustache gives me confidence. Really, though, it's not that bad. There's Artex drowning, Yoda training Luke, Jennifer Connelly hanging on by a thread. Yeah, 80s had a thing for swamps, didn't they?
I am not the Dread Pirate Roberts, he said. I inherited the ship from the previous Dread Pirate.
Well, fantasy
He tells of how
stuff,
the Dread
right?
Pirate Roberts has been passing on his legacy for years, and though he was taken prisoner, he eventually decided to hand over the title to Wesley.
Yeah, besides, Star Wars is space fantasy.
3 years, he said that.
Science fiction and fantasy combined.
Sleep well, unless
Right.
I could kill you in the morning.
And then one morning he did kill me. What? Yes, figure that one out.
Rodents of unusual size? I don't think
I
they
don't think
exist.
they exist. And then,
Rats of unusual size battle against the rat tail of unusual size, and Buttercup is continuing to be useless. Yeah, I guess the author asked his daughters what he should write about. One said a princess, the other said a bride, so he wrote The Princess Bride. The irony is, despite being played well, she is the most uninteresting character in the film, doing very little throughout it. And for a title he named for his daughters, the Princess Bride never becomes royalty or gets married in this.
Did you say I do?
Oh, no.
Then you're not married.
So even that she couldn't do right. They make it out of the swamp, but are caught by Humperdinck. Buttercup says she'll marry him, though, if he lets Wesley go. He's handed over to Count Rugen, played by Christopher Guest.
You have 6
yeah,
fingers on your
but
right.
still,
I'm very
Buttercup
sensitive
was
about
good.
that. My parents
You know.
were siblings. Yeah, it's fitting he's knocked out because this is kind of where I check out a bit too. Oh, not as bad. I mean, I know a film with this dedicated fan base would do terrible things to me if they even hinted at that. But there is a...
How dare you, like...
Hey folks, we're starting YouTube.
Don't you dare, we knew you were going.
Polls, behind-the-scene videos, and other perks. Check out and see if you want to become a...
It's just funny, like, he's done this a lot of times, like, quick
Okay, so like I said, the film
gunshots to
doesn't
the
get
head.
bad, but the momentum does go down a
anyways.
great deal after this point. We're on an adventure, colorful characters, deadly threats, new locations. There's always something new on the horizon. Then we're taken back to where we started, with people mostly just standing around talking. The writing's still good, and it does introduce new characters as well. But that excitement of where we're gonna end up next is gone. With that said, the comedy is still decent, with Mel Smith playing the caretaker of the Pit of Despair.
You survived the fire swamp. You must be very brave. But nobody withstands the machine.
Remember that device in Burn After Reading? It's like a cousin of that.
Okay.
King apparently dies, and Humperdinck and Buttercup are declared king and queen.
Hold it, hold it. If she didn't marry him, it wouldn't be fair.
Well, who says life is fair? Where is that written?
Can that be a motivational poster for some younger people? But not everybody in the crowd is thrilled either.
Boo! Yep.
That's Marjorie Mason as, no joke, the ancient booer. I don't want to name her because she's been in a ton of stuff, but nobody ever recognizes her except for this scene. I don't think
That's
it's
because she's
anything
made
when I
up.
say This is a nightmare Buttercup is having, and her performance, while wonderfully silly and over the top, is quite nightmarish.
Rubbish, filth,
The close-up.
grime, muck,
Rubbish!
Everyone's quiet and happy to see you, except for one miserable goblin who will try as loudly as possible to make you suffer.
true love.
You wonder how Humperdinck is reacting to this.
She treated it like garbage.
It's my favorite scene in the movie just for how hilariously unpleasant it is. And most of that comes down to her performance.
And the close-up, just...
Like I said, it is a dream, as the grandson brags and the grandfather quotes whatever YouTuber says when a comment points out a flaw in a video.
Yes, you're very smart. Shut up.
Now shut up.
Buttercup grows more and more anxious as the wedding nears.
If Wesley wants you, bless you both. If not, please consider me as an alternative to suicide.
The pickup line Russell Brand usually uses on women. You might think I've been leaning too hard on some of the sex jokes earlier, but look at this scene and tell me somebody else isn't leaning hard right now.
I'm sure you've discovered my deep and abiding interest in pain.
As subtle as putting together is Joel Schumacher gay? He uses
Yes,
the
he
machine to
was.
slowly torture him, but when Humperdinck realizes he can never fully win over Buttercup, a strange thing to get upset about, it's just gonna kill her to start a war anyway. Though it does lead to this wonderfully awkward delivery.
I Would not say such things if I were you.
It is I, Pumpernickel. He speeds up the process, killing him.
Shut up, Wesley.
Shut up, Wesley.
Inigo, and says teaming up with the man who bested them might give them purpose again. Too bad he too got bested. Well, clearly teaming up with the man who bested us makes sense.
Oh, he killed your father.
No, the science just adds up. We have to join him. Take Wesley to Miracle Max, played by Billy Crystal, and his wife Valerie, played by Carol Kane. And this is where the energy really comes back again.
Yeah.
The same way they breathe life back into Wesley, the same way they breathe life back into the movie.
Ever since Prince Humperdinck fired him.
I'm not
I
listening.
like to think if Taxi kept going, this is how Locke and Simcoe would turn out. They give him a magic pill that'll slowly but surely bring him back to life as they haul him to Humperdinck.
Bye-bye, boys.
Have fun storming the castle.
Meet me real soon. The adventure is also back. We have some sword fights, people set ablaze, confrontations. Like
Yep.
I said, the movie really gets back on track with some of its momentum here. It also does it on its own terms, though, with the main hero barely able to move.
Here they go. Hopefully you win.
If not, it'd be a sin. No, really, why did we have me rhyme if we were just gonna drop it? And then, of course, Peter Cook, looking so dignified with grand organ music and the camera slowly tracking in, just to have one single word bring down the house.
Marriage.
This line and this speech is so famous, I can't even count how many times I've seen actual weddings use it.
Marriage.
Oh boy.
Marriage.
Marriage is what brings us here
Marriage.
together today.
Marriage.
Proof that even
If I
with
were,
comedy
I would
writing,
do that.
sometimes just a funny voice is enough.
I mean, not every wedding is gonna do it, but you know.
There will be no survivor.
Inigo sends Pisic mannequin double to scare everybody away.
Yeah, it's obvious.
This leads to a confrontation between Inigo and Rugen, again resulting in a completely unexpected reaction.
Prepares to die.
And Buttercup decides she can't live in a world without Wesley.
There's a shortage of perfect breasts in this world. It would be a pity to damage yours.
I don't know, they're attached to a character that literally does nothing but be depressed throughout the entire movie. Is it worth it?
Leslie,
To him,
you hold me.
Get used to disappointment. Inigo chases Ruben, but is stabbed not once, not twice, but 3 times, and still manages to get his revenge.
yep.
My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm totally down for fighting through the pain to get his revenge, resulting in one of the best vengeful lines ever.
Anything you want.
I want my father back, you son of a bitch.
But then, like, somebody should rush in and nurse him back to health. Maybe another pill that Miracle Max gave
Well-
or something. I don't know, but he walks around like he's just fine. He holds his stomach like he has
If he's
a
doing
tummy
okay,
ache, but he's
then-
literally dripping blood all over the place. Wesley's even like, hey, you fountain of red pain, you want to take over being Roberts for me? Get him to a hospital!
But first things first. To the death.
Humperdinck thinks Wesley can't fight back, and because of that incredibly demanding sword fight and the fact they hurt his foot, he's right. So words are a good budget-saving way to win this fight. He tells him how he's gonna chop off every part of his body except his ears.
Every woman who cries out, "Dear God, what is that thing?" will echo in your perfect ears.
I love how a screenplay with such elegant dialogue can suddenly dumb itself down at the best moments. Just having that line, "What is that thing?" is so simple yet so direct. Like there's no other word anyone can come up with to describe it. It'll be that grotesque. Humperdinck thinks he's bluffing, but Wesley's got a golden ticket and stands. He surrenders only to discover he was faking all along.
I knew you were bluffing. I knew he was bluffing.
To think I'm wearing half of Buttercup's wardrobe for nothing. Fezzik finds some horses and they ride off into the moonset. And it is at this time that the eels finally ate us.
Of course not.
Jesus, Grandpa, what did you read me this thing for?
No, they ride back home and the grandson is so invested he's more than happy to even listen to the parts about kissing.
Yeah.
Now I think we ought to go to sleep.
You have a lot of resting to do before you spend your lifetime watching the Bears lose.
Maybe you could come over and read it again to me tomorrow.
As you wish.
It was at that moment that I realized this wasn't even my grandfather. And And that was The Princess Bride. Still pretty great.
Of course.
Okay, not everything spectacular. There's a few pacing issues here and there.
But that all doesn't
Sometimes
bother
the
me.
budget cost
I'm sure that goes for everybody else.
distracting. But half the time, that's also what's so likable about it. It feels like a movie that major studios didn't have a ton of faith in, so it had to fight harder and smarter to be recognized. And when
20th Century Fox
which is
did it,
easily
so...
the majority of the time, it leaves us with characters, performances, dialogue, and a romantic adventure that can never be forgotten. It's smart enough to speak to adults, simple enough to speak to children, and charming enough to speak to every child's inner grown-up and every grown-up's inner child.
Yep.
Boo! Boo! Boo!
What's wrong?
Our audition was pointless! It was more about how old you feel rather than the impact the movie had on you. And now Jim is dead!
That's true. Still dead.
Rubbish.
No, you're not.
Filth, slime, muck, boo, boo.
Boo! And he was asleep. Or not.
Anybody want a peanut?
Ah! Okay, that was fun. That was a fun video.
For charity, we're doing...
Okay, and the charity shout out as always. Okay, like I said, that was fun. That was a fun review on The Princess Bride done by the nostalgia critic Doug Walker. Yeah, just overall it was good. I do applaud for that. Boy, oh boy, I have no doubt, and I'm looking forward to some other reactors, watching other reactors videos reacting to this nostalgia critic video. Like most notably, the Renegades React. Like, and if you know the Renegades React, in fact, it was with their reaction to the nostalgia critics, the review of The Princess Bride, where Micah's brother Caleb returned, and that was nice to see him. It also would have been nice if Ben would have returned, you know, because this is The Princess Bride we're talking about, and because I've been following the Renegades React for quite a while, I know for a fact that they too, they love the heck out of The Princess Bride. So, if only Ben were there too, but... You know, and again, excuse me, if you guys know the Renegades React very well, and if you know the history of their channel and such, and with Ben, then, yeah, it's unfortunate, you know, because of his official disembarkment from the channel, you know, so, anyway, so, yeah. So that was the Nostalgia Critics review of The Princess Bride. Again, it was fun, hilarious. Yeah, I definitely got some good laughs from it. And like I said, I can't wait to watch others' reaction to this. Again, like I said, most notably The Princess Bride. Definitely, because when watching their content reacting to the Nostalgia Critic, they'll definitely get some good laughs from it. So, yeah. I mean, besides... With this, like, and, oh, yeah, that was good. That was good. Yeah, you know, two things I want to mention, and if there's anything else I want to mention, some that Doug did not bring up. Well, first off, about Andre the Giant, again, may the one and only Andre the Giant rest in peace, because, yeah, it was cool and nice, like, you know, talking about a little bit of Andre the Giant, and because... Jeez, like, I don't think I really knew this, that he would pass out and such, and yeah. But, you know, the thing is, yeah, because, yeah, like, okay, two things on Andre. One, he wasn't the original first choice to play Fezzik. It was Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, he was the first choice, and in consideration to play the role of Fezzik. But as time went on and the movie kept getting delayed and it went through development hell, well, by that point, they weren't able to have Arnold play the role because he was too expensive. So that's when enter Andre the Giant, and yeah, it rightfully so, because, you know, him playing the role of Fezzik, it's a good thing. I'm sure Arnold would have been good, and it would have been completely different if he was cast, and if Danny DeVito was cast. Maybe I did read maybe once or twice that Danny DeVito was considered to play Wallace Shawn's character, but yeah, it would have been completely different. The movie would have been completely different if those two actors were cast. So, and let's not forget, because other acting stuff that Andre did, most notably, he was the bionic Sasquatch in the $6 Million Man. I'm sure you would remember that. So that was him, and fighting off against the $6 Million Man in that famous fight sequence in the show. Yeah. And also, because another thing on Andre, it's unfortunate because how he kept getting bigger and so on up until, well, he sadly passed away. It's unfortunate. And to think that he would die just not long after his father's funeral. Jeez. Well, it's sad and just, one of those things that's just eerie and so on. But yeah. Also, on Inigo Montoya, What's in Face, who played Inigo Montoya, I read this, that when he got the role, and because the whole thing of Inigo Montoya, avenging his father, well, that was actually based off of what he was going through. His father had cancer, and him playing the role of Inigo Montoya, it was like his way of, seeking revenge on the cancer and so on. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, and there was a fan of The Princess Bride that went through the same thing and left a message out on TikTok, and his response, oh my gosh, that is so moving, touching. I'm sure some of you know this story. It's amazing. It really is amazing and very touching for sure. And is there anything else well, I mean, I should have seen it because some a little bit of negative stuff that he talked about, but overall, all that stuff that he brought up, at a certain point in the movie but it doesn't bother me, and I'm sure it doesn't bother anybody else. What matters is that the movie is fantastic, and yeah, that's all that matters. By the way, because another thing I want to point out is that when Wesley and Buttercup go down that hill, because when she pushed him and he revealed himself as Wesley by, going, as you wish, the stuntman that played Wesley going down the hill, I think he actually also did the stunt performance as Buttercup. So basically, yeah, a guy dressed up as both Wesley and Buttercup, same guy. I think that's about right. And, well, I mean, you know what, you can't even really tell and see that it's not Cary Elwes and Robin Wright, because of them tumbling down that long hill, and also, most notably for Buttercup, her hair getting in her face, so, yeah. But I think, at one point you can just get just a little bit of a glimpse of the stuntman as Wesley going down the hill. Just a very quick glimpse. A bit blurry, but at the same time, And like I said, because a big major studio that did distributed this, 20th Century Fox, I mean, if so, there were other movie studios at the time who doubted that this could be something. This could be really good, and well, because unfortunately, it wasn't that. I guess, however Doug said it, how it did in theaters, not that good. It's kind of just like a Christmas Story. It didn't do that good in theaters, but when A Christmas Story, and as well as Princess Bride, when each of those two movies made their way to home video and TV and such, boy, did they become much successful as ever. Yeah, so that's great to see. If I were to choose a movie that didn't do that good in theaters, but it found a really good success and a cult following on home media, DVD, video, and on TV, I would go for Princess Bride. I'm not saying that I've established this before. I don't hate Christmas Story, but it's one of those movies that, yeah, I don't need to keep watching, and probably maybe I would very rarely watch it, because I'm telling you, because my mom constantly kept playing that. Maybe not the word constantly is what I'm looking for, but I'm just saying she would watch that all the time, and yeah, it wouldn't hurt for me to at least give it a watch, maybe just once, like, very rarely, but I'm sure you get my point. I'm sure some of you would probably feel the same way. No offense and no hard feelings to those who really enjoy A Christmas Story. Don't get me wrong, it's great. It is. But for me, I don't need to keep watching it. It just, I know a friend who, Tyler, / Tiki from So You Want to Be an Imagineer, he made it clear, when we did our review of the Flintstones movie that, he would not watch A Christmas Story ever again. I understand, and that's his opinion. But for me, it's not that I would never ever watch it again, it's just I probably would very rarely give it a watch. You get my point. Okay. Yeah. I don't know how he would feel on Princess Bride. I don't know, because we never talked about Princess Bride as of this recording, but if I think of so, I'll mention it to him. By the way, on Cary Elwes, one time he was at a convention that me and my dad went to. It was at the Huntington Comic-Con. If any of you know about that convention, that's here in West Virginia, where I live. Because one convention, like, Cary Elwes was there. Maybe it was around the time when I met the late Kevin Conroy. I think it was, yeah. And Cary Elwes was there. I didn't get to meet him, but I did see him because he was behind a curtain, and the curtain was a bit open, and I can see Cary Elwes right through the curtain. I mean, this is probably after he was finished with his booth and signing, and yeah, that he was done for the day. So I remember, like, a curtain was open a little bit, and I can see him there. I can see him, like, backstage and such. But hey, at least I got to see the Cary Elwes with my own eyes. Didn't get to meet him, but still, I saw him. Okay? So, yeah. But, yeah. And speaking more on Cary Elwes and Robin Wright, yeah, because this is the movie that made them go big, and look what they would do next. Like, Robin Wright, for example, well, because she would do Forrest Gump, and a lot of other great successful films that she would do. And on the side of television, well, the Netflix show House of Cards. And for Cary Elwes, well, God, he's done so much. Like, he was in two Studio Ghibli films, if you know those. And he was also, one of his, like, recent works was being in the Knuckles miniseries, but yeah. And what's in face who plays Inigo Montoya, because there was one show that I did watch a little bit with my mom. I mean, it had to do with, I guess the undead or something, if you know about that. And not to mention, he was also the main antagonist in Elmo and Grouchland. Yeah, him, who stole Elmo's blanket. Yeah, that's him. And also, because, like, some of the famous quotes and such in this movie, yeah, from As You Wish, Inconceivable, even if he wanted to, like, I love the part where Inigo Montoya says to Wallace Shawn's character, "You keep using the word. I do not think it means what you think it means." Oh, that's so good. And, of course, marriage. Marriage is what brings us together today. I think I got it right. And that's awesome that in some weddings, they would say that. Why not? I mean, not every single wedding, but still. And if I were there, if I did something like that, I would, if I were like them, I would definitely do that. Marriage, and do my best impression of the priest, Marriage is what brings us together today. I think I just about got it down, but anyways. And also, one more thing to mention, because, yeah, I don't want to keep this going on that long. Billy Crystal. Billy Crystal's appearance in this, in fact, he actually brought in someone who did his makeup, I think, for SNL, so that was nice. That was nice of good old Billy, so. But yeah, there's so much more I could say, but I think overall, I think I've said all that I've needed to say after reacting to this, so yeah. Overall, Princess Bride. What a memorable, fantastic film this is. The charm to it that everybody really enjoys, yeah. And with what the nostalgia critic, Doug Walker, had to say on The Princess Bride, Really well said. Yes, understandable on one certain part of the film where, yeah, but at the same time, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, okay? Because the movie is fantastic and just, yeah. Again, I had no problem with what goes on later on in the film when Wesley's captured and so on, but yeah. So again, the Nostalgia Critic's review of The Princess Bride, fun, hilarious, and especially with that skit where, you know, they have makeup on and they're getting old. And by the way, because I remember because a stilled shot of Doug, that was in the community post, and, well, I mean, which 80s film was he gonna cover? And then when Princess Bride, his review of The Princess Bride came out, it was like, ooh, okay, yeah, that one. So, yeah. But yeah, again, that was funny. And Jim freaking dying, like, okay, so, oh well. Okay, just again, the Nostalgia Critic's review of The Princess Bride, fun, hilarious, a really well-done review on a late 80s fantasy classic, without a doubt. And what about you guys? What did you think of the Nostalgia Critic's review of The Princess Bride itself? Anything that, I guess, you know, you agree and disagree with, like, and with what I've had to say? Did you get good laughs? I think, yeah, because for this, it had some pretty good laughs, for sure. And things that, you know, you didn't see coming. Like, for me, I should have seen it coming, because the joke of the shrieking eels, you know, gobbling Buttercup, how that came up towards the end. I should have seen that coming. So, yeah, and again, with what I've had to say, with the Nostalgia Critic video itself, and with my reaction, and yeah, what did you think of my reaction? Leave comments and give this reaction video a like, as always. And so, with all that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my reaction to the Nostalgia Critic video of his review of The Princess Bride. More reaction videos are on the way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I'll see you guys in the next video / reaction. And to quote the late legendary Peter Falk, and you know what, because very quickly, it was very fitting, because when the memoriam happened at the 2012 Oscars, or 2013, you know, and Peter Falk coming up, using that bit of footage from Princess Bride where he gets the last line, "As you wish."